sound, the sensibility, the philosophy, the players, the interaction between the players, the urgency of the music. I played a lot of different instruments when I was younger, and it was the result of having an opportunity to play in a school jazz band, and they needed a tenor saxophonist. Ultimately, I realized that my voice and the sound I was hearing in my head was best realized on the tenor saxophone. Tito Puente was a powerful percussionist, band leader, composer, character. I played in his band for a year in 1974, and all I can tell you is there were some jobs where he actually wouldn't show up and we would play without him. When he did show up, it was like this amazing infusion of energy and adrenaline. He just was such a strong presence, an amazing performer and musician, percussionist. Buddy Rich is the greatest drummer in the world. I played with him for 2.5 years, and every time he played, I was amazed. I never tired of his musicianship, his expertise as a drummer, also a very strong presence as a band leader, a real supportive musician of young, aspiring musicians. He encouraged me to write for the band. I did my first big band writing on his band. He was very gracious and encouraging. He encouraged us to play. He gave me tapes of saxophone players and suggested I listen to them, which was incredibly great advice. Despite what you've heard, he was a very decent human being and a real supporter of young musicians and of the music in general. It was the band I always wanted to be in, and was fortunate enough to be in for a short time, and it was this wonderful combination of small group meets large jazz ensemble where the writing was just magnificent and the playing was ever so spontaneous and organic. Mel Lewis's drumming was just wonderful, and the sound was enveloping and beautiful and swinging, and Thad was just a warm-hearted, again, a very encouraging band leader who encouraged his flock to write and play and really deal with the music, and just amazing experience. Thad's writing was pivotal. You know, it sort of took what Duke Ellington had done and updated it to include rhythm and blues and more contemporary jazz devices and interesting and involved harmonic structures and counterpoint and, you know, classical composition. It all was rolled into this swinging, beautiful sounding music that had such a huge impact on my writing and thinking. Initially, I try to hear things in my head before I even start writing anything on paper, or in my case now I use Sibelius software in my laptop. And I try to just get some general shapes and ideas in my head, possibly groove, tempo, maybe some interesting time-related thing where, involving meter or a certain bass line or a certain rhythm that somehow would be a focal point of a composition. Other times I'll hear melodies and just try to sit quietly and hear them in my head and try to expand upon them and hear a big band, and hear how a big band might approach the things that I've gathered together. Every big band leader has influences that range from the bands that they themselves have played with to their personal musical preferences, who they hire to write the music. My playing experience was a little more eclectic, say, than some of the older band leaders. In the music I wrote for my band, there was an R&B element, there was a Latin, Afro-Caribbean element. There was an orchestral element, because I had played in symphony orchestra and was very much interested in classical composition. And so it winds up being that specific blend of influences that determines one's sound and style as a band leader and ultimately as the band. Writing also determines the sound and flavor of a band. And well, I do all the writing for my big band, so I think that winds up being an integral part of the sound of the band. When it comes to music, there's no greater joy than playing with people where everyone is on the same page and it's effortless, and you're not playing. You're just a vehicle or vessel for this music that happens collectively, and that's just an amazing, amazing feeling. It doesn't always happen, but when it does, it's incredibly joyous.